I am Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. One of his advocacy, building multi generational wealth, and of course, a mentor too, and other than Mr. Charles or Chuck DeLadurantey.
Well, hello, Daniel. Glad to be with you today.
Welcome on Book 101 Review, Mr. Chuck. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, great. Well, great to be here. I'm a partner with Private Family Banking Partners. We help families and small businesses build wealth and keep it. We use a very unique platform that will leverage cash flow and help those families prosper in any economy. And we have a safe, what I'd call a safe money system method where you never lose your capital, but you find ways to use the same money in two places or more at the same time.
Mr. Chuck DeLadurantey, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, let's talk about building a multi generational wealth. So, tell us, multi generational wealth is about more than money. What are the non financial assets, values, or traditions, education that are true bedrock of lasting legacy? And how do you intentionally pass those down?
Yeah, boy, that's a great question. And you nailed it. Legacy is way more than just wealth, although it's an important component. But it starts with values, and it starts within a family having a mission and an agreement about family culture, about how you're going to continue the legacy of that family, whatever it might be. And you don't have to be ultra wealthy to do that. You can certainly, in any way, whether you're in for-profit work or not profit nonprofit work, any kind of missionary work or mission work of any kind. So, how do you have that? Not that every family member is going to pursue exactly the path, but certainly on the terms of values and the whole idea of what families. My dog just joined us in the background there. What kind of values you pass along. Uh, it's very important for a family to have some unity and consensus. And I work with very wealthy families as well. And the wealthy have the same concerns as those of just our average citizens, if you will, and that is what is the next generation going to do with that wealth? So if you are wealthy at any level, and especially if you're high net worth or ultra high net worth, I've met with these people that are, 100 million, 200 million of family wealth, and their concern is, are their children going to be spoiled by it? How do you have what a generational roadmap for who we are, what we do, and then we help people set up a family banking system where if there is money involved, you can set rules up of what it takes to borrow from the family bank, how you return a profit, and all that. But your entry question is very very important, and that wealth or generational sensibilities are way more than about just wealth.
Just wealth for sure. And Mr. Chuck, what is the fundamental shift in thinking required to go from a building wealth for your family to building a wealthy family?
Ah, that's a great question. I love the way you turned that phrase. Yeah, I mean, a family is wealthy if they have agreement, if they have purposefulness. A lot of people, and I'm at the typical retirement age. I just turned 72, but I'm still out here. I'm still investing in my grandchildren, my children. And it's when you lose your purposefulness, whether it be as an individual or a family, if you have no intentionality, then life's just going to take over. The ups and downs, the tragedies, the challenges, health challenges, and economic challenges, relational challenges. Relationships are key to a thriving family and a thriving life for all of us. So I think that you have to have a purpose in what you do. And most men retire and maybe say at age 65, and then they find out statistically they die earlier and they just wander. They just don't have a purpose. So I think, I have purpose to continue to invest in my family, help them. I do invest in them both within our little family enterprise and beyond whatever the other ones are doing. And if I can help them and certainly guide them and act as a family mentor and as the kind of the elder statesman in the family. So, it's very important for everybody to have that purposefulness.
Definitely, you should have goals, people. So, how do you help families create their own definition of wealth that aligns with their values so that the next generation is motivated to be stewards, not just spenders?
Yeah, I think that when you look at the way the modern culture that it promotes this idea of everybody goes off individually, and if that's what is supposed to happen and everybody has a different profession, that's fine, but not by default. And so we spawn this idea of think about it mathematically. If you can build on the shoulders and stand on the shoulders of your forefathers in terms of wealth, why wouldn't you? Why would you think you have to start from zero? And a lot of, Generation Z and Y and uh, you know the millennials, they're all facing challenges because the cost of living and the cost of housing, for example, has exceeded the income growth. So a lot of them are really not only challenged but angry, frankly, about not being able to purchase a house within reason. And I think if that when you all tear off in individual directions and you don't utilize the family legacy and you're not building on something that came before you, you're going to wind up behind the curve in today's economy, especially.
Mr. Chuck, for the founders of wealth, what are the unique psychological challenges they face in transitioning from scarcity mindset to abundance mindset for their children?
Yeah, well, I think that an abundance mindset. I think that this is something that goes against what many feel like they have to hoard and hide and protect instead of thinking that there is an endless, almost abundance of resource if you understand how to capture it. And so it is a mindset, and it's like anything. When you get up in the morning, if you have a negative mindset, if you're defeated already, or if you think that somehow you have to hoard. That's not a mindset of abundance and prosperity. So the psychological factors of it, although I also believe you have to walk in faith too. I'm a man of faith, so I think your faith comes in. And do you believe that the Lord wants us to be abundant and wants us to be prosperous too? And not that it's a guarantee. Not everybody will prosper at the same level, but prosperity is also a relative sensibility. I mean, it would define prosperity as prosperity, living a good and a life that engages others and is others oriented, not just self focused.
Yes, oriented for sure. And tell us the communication and family dynamics. Money is often a taboo subject in families. How do you break the silence and create a safe, open environment and transparent conversation about wealth across generations?
That's a great question. I was just talking to a fellow out of the University of Pennsylvania who's a professor. He's retired now. And he wound up finding a niche where he becomes a counselor to wealthy families because it's so difficult for the family to negotiate those the terrain, if you will, of the challenges of communication within the family about money. A lot of families find it very difficult to talk about money. Some people don't want to talk about money at all, but it is and should be something that you consider. And the so he found that there's a market there to where they can't even open up the conversation, let alone create the legal framework for a trust and all of the attributes of how to pass on wealth, share it, and administrate it. So I think that that tells me, especially for his clientele or people of fairly large wealth, that it even becomes more difficult for most when you become very wealthy. So that's a great question, and it's a great thing to understand that sometimes investing in a mentor or a coach rather as an outsider, and I do that too. I get called into situations with the wealthy and the not so wealthy, and I work with people who have tremendous credit card debt and challenges, and we help them turn things around using our system to accelerate their debt payoff. So I act as a counselor and a mentor in those situations as well.
How does effective air preparation look like? It is about teaching investing, philanthropy, entrepreneurship, or something else entirely.
Yeah, it's all of those. It's all of those in our private family banking system. It's about finding a way that exists that many people don't know about. And that's what we coach people into is the system of saving money versus always paying interest to other people. Most people pay 34 to 35% of their income in interest to other people. So we help stop paying interest to others and becoming your own bank, if you will. So a great book that was influenced my life was Nelson Nash's book, Becoming Your Own Banker. And in that book, he tells about that system, about how to capture the money and start saving and then leverage that money. So even the average person can gain advantage on the money they already have flowing through their life without even earning more money. And then that encourages them to be more creative and to be entrepreneurial and those kind of things. So I think getting control of your capital and getting rid of paying all that interest to other people is absolutely key.
Absolutely the key, people. And how do families navigate the emotional charge decision of disturbing assets fairly versus equally, especially when children have a different needs or level of involvement in a family business?
Well, yeah, that gets into the artwork of a good conversation on the legacy trust and they're all very personal. They're all very unique. So that's where an outside person might be able to parse through and put serve some objectivity to that conversation rather than it be subjective to the emotions of the family proper or the patriarch or matriarch. So I think again, I met an individual recently at a conference I sponsored, and I think he had 3 daughters. They were all preteen, but he had a multi-million dollar, I think a $250 million empire of real estate, commercial mostly. And he and his wife started this. He married her. He was much older than her and his wife, and he brought her into the business, wound up marrying her, and had her on a platform of understanding and training. And that's the way they're going to train their girls to come up is to get into the business, get their feet wet, and make mistakes, and learn by that, and also get the coaching and oversight by their parents. So um, when you're engaged like that and you have an active part of the business, it's a lot easier to distribute that wealth on a pro rata basis and understand, what that should look like.
Mr. Chag, as you advocating building a multi-generational wealth as well as mentor, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
And my short-term goals, I'm currently my practice is expanding, and I've been working with families sort of maybe families that make under $200,000 a year and the typical mortgage and some car payments and that. And we set them up with a private family banking system. I've expanded that to also include retirees and pre-retirees where we're taking their precious hard-earned savings and get it into a safe money system where they'll never lose money. And then thirdly, I work with the high net worth and ultra high net worth families for family legacy and for their charitable giving. One of the things that I have a distinct and unique approach on is to leverage charitable giving by 5 to 10x by using our system. Whereas If they were giving already, they can still give what they were going to give, and then we set them up with a way that that money will come back 5 to 10 times what they would have normally given. And the foundations, the charitable organizations, they love it because it expands their charitable base, and some of that money can be used in the short term, and a lot of it will be used in the long term. And the family still wins. Charitable, the hospital or the foundation or the university or the endowment or whatever they want to support can be greatly enhanced that the gifts they were already going to give.
Mr. Chuck, good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success. And tell us, what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Yeah, I would encourage him to get a hold of Nelson Nash's book, Becoming Your Own Banker. It would also be to get a hold of me. I do a lot of Zoom calls. You can reach out to me at chuck@privatefamilybanking.com. That'll get a hold of me. And I recommend a book from good to great. Jim Collins wrote that many years ago, but I that really sent me into my entrepreneurial journey. And I raised a large family. I have 11 children and 25 grandchildren, and it took a lot of encouragement, reading and understanding, how to pivot and become an entrepreneur. So I'm all over that.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. Chuck, and thank you for that recommended book as well. And for a family that has never had a formal discussion about legacy, what is the agenda for the first potentially uncomfortable family wealth meeting? What should be in the room?
Yeah, so I have a partner, and we call it seven generational wealth. We have a whole process where we do an interview sheet and try to get clarity on the mission and vision and values of that family. We start with that, and it goes from there. And it can involve just an educational approach, and then the family takes it over, or we have a contract that we'll come up with, and we'll stay with them for whatever it takes to create the entire, including the trust and all of the legal documents, work with their CPA, their attorney, whatever it takes. So, seven generation, they can get a hold of me again, Chuck at Private Family Banking, and do that, and we'll set that up for them.
Interesting, Mr. Chuck. Building a multi generational wealth requires a team. Who are the essential members and how do they need to collaborate?
Yeah, and this is where a lot of people don't have collaboration between their attorney, their CPA. Maybe they have a real estate partner. Maybe they have maybe they do use a mentor or some sort of a financial advisor. So all of those people need to get around the table, especially when it comes down to putting the legal pieces in place. So, but it starts out again with purpose and vision, um, and that's uh, can't be just you and the family. Like myself, I would depend on them. If they don't bring an attorney or an CPA or accountant to the table, we'll help them with that too.
Many people think this is a topic only for the ultra wealthy. What is the first step for a middle class family with a paid home and some savings to begin thinking and acting a multi generationally?
Yeah, the first steps there is to assess their, basically what does their cash flow look like? Are they, a lot of people think that your personal residence is an asset, and it really isn't. It's a liability because you're going to pay taxes and insurance and upkeep on that home. So unless you've got a business, I have three businesses that run out of my property here. So I consider my where I live also a business, but a lot of people don't think that way. And so it's a matter of looking at all the cash flow, the opportunities you have, where are your assets? A lot of people have a lot of their asset value tied up in their personal residence. So you might want to reconsider that maybe paying off a 15 or 30-year mortgage is not the best idea if that's going to cause you to be illiquid. So liquidity is key to taking advantage of opportunity. And so you don't have to be super wealthy to think that through.
Mr. Shark, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in the fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast, law 101 and mental health 101, love letters in third season, and movie 101 review, music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Chuck, when you see a family that you successfully built and maintain wealth across multiple generations, what is the single greatest characteristics they all share?
I think the single greatest characteristics are having clarity on what their mission is and what words mean that they talk about so that everybody is on the same page. That the alignment is a strong necessity.
Mr. Charles or Chuck DeLadurantey, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So, where do people reach you, Mr. Chuck?
And I will give you my email again. It's Chuck, CHUCK, at privatefamilybanking.com, all one word, privatefamilybanking.com.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Charles or Chuck because if you support him for sure, more and more empowering, building multi generational wealth to come. So, Mr. Chuck, thank you so much for your time.
All righty. Bye now.
More to come, people. See you soon.